What up, gorgeous? Welcome to today's Future Spouse Pick a Card reading with me, the High Maintenance Hippie, where I want to find out what is blocking you from meeting your future spouse. So I want to delve into your energy and see what needs balancing out to bring you and your future spouse into that union once and for all. I'm also super proud to announce that today's reading is in collaboration with Princess Michaela. She is a fellow tarot reader on YouTube. She is making waves on the tarot scene, and I truly feel that she is going to go far. So if you want to check out her video, it will be linked in the description box down below. I've also tagged her channel in the title of this video. But first, before you head over to Michaela's channel, I need you to pick one of these three piles. Pile number one, we have the anchor. Pile number two, we have the four-leaf clover, and pile number three is the mouse. I highly recommend that you go with your first gut instinct. Spirit is going to guide you towards the pile which has the most relevant information for you, and once you've chosen your pile, I shall see you in your reading. Pile number one, how are you? Welcome to your reading. Let's find out what's blocking you from your future spouse. Now, you guys chose the anchor, and straight away with this anchor, I'm getting an energy of a relationship breakup or a relationship breakdown. And some of you may be questioning your actions within this breakup / breakdown. Some of you may be questioning whether this breakup was ever supposed to happen at all. Spirit wants to come in and they want to very strictly say to you, this relationship was supposed to break when it broke. Just wasn't right for you, or just isn't right for you in this moment. Also, I can feel some of you having an urge to travel or enroll in some form of higher education. Could be some questioning around this. A lot of back and forth kind of energy with you guys, pile number one. A lot of questioning yourself is coming through too. So Spirit wants to say, if you're getting an urge or a gut instinct to do something, go for it. Spirit is really giving you the green light. Spirit is saying that you are in a pocket of very fated energy at the moment. So anything that falls away right now or has fallen away recently was supposed to go. And any options that appear to you are supposed to be taken. Now, when it comes to what's blocking you and your future spouse currently, we've got heartbreak here. I think some of you may be aware that you're in a phase of heartbreak, in a phase of confusion around your feelings. For some of you, you may still have feelings for an ex or have feelings for somebody else. For some of you, you may have been single for a while, but there's a fear around healthy intimacy coming through. Some of you may realise you have this, some of you may not. This is the kind of energy where, and this doesn't have to be for everybody because everybody's going to deal with this energy differently, but this is the kind of energy where you could be attracted to people with more toxic energy or people who aren't good for you through the having less fear around, because really it is like a fear of commitment deep down, because if a good person comes along, you know you're going to commit, and once you commit, you know that there is the potential of being rejected. And I think for pile number ones, you really cannot take that rejection again. Like, you're just not on the market to be rejected again. Where somebody comes along with a bit more of like a toxic energy, you know, you subconsciously know within you that you're less likely to commit. And if you did commit with that person, you will have built some boundaries during that commitment stage. So when you're in the relationship with that person, you are still going to have those boundaries. So if that relationship ends, well, you're not going to lose as much of yourself because you had boundaries anyway. But also, if that relationship ends, you can very clearly see it was their problem and not your problem. So I hope this makes sense for some of you. I do feel that no matter what, like, you guys really do desire that healthy relationship. It lives within you. It lives within all of us. As human beings, we love to love. We love to connect. We love to be in romantic relationships. We love to be in platonic relationships because we're communal beings. And being in community means survival. Being in loving relationships also means survival because it means procreation. You have that desire within you. You know you do. But there's just a little bit of confusion with you guys at the moment where you're allowing in the people that don't deserve your energy, and you're fearing or running away or even detracting the energies that do deserve to come in. Now, your future spouse is going to be somebody who is healthy. your future spouse is going to be somebody who even comes in and maybe even rings some alarm bells within you, and you think, oh, is this love bombing? Okay, I'm feeling that coming through very strongly, because they're going to come in and they're going to be nice, really kind. They may even show very subtle signs of love bombing. And I want to say, pile number one, you guys may have experienced love bombing in the past. For some of you, you may do some research around a recent ex, maybe this ex relationship that we spoke about at the start of this reading, and find out about love bombing and what love bombing is. Love bombing being somebody who's being manipulative with their kindness. But your future spouse is going to come in and they're going to be kind, but they're not going to have the manipulation there. Something very independent about your future spouse. There's somebody who's reached a point in their life where they don't need anybody. They want somebody, they don't need it. And I do think your future spouse may give off a bit of like a bachelor kind of energy, maybe even like an air of player, just because of how single they have been for such a long time. And I think you may misread this if you met them right now and think, oh, well, they just don't want to settle down. Maybe they just like to, you know, keep it easy with people, but they just don't have the energy to give themselves to people who don't deserve their energy. Now with you guys, and I feel like in these readings, it's going to feel like I'm kind of like telling you off, but the thing is, not everything is going to resonate with you in this reading. This is a collective reading. Parts may resonate, parts may not, or there may just be some like little tidbits in this reading where you're like, oh, do you know what? I didn't fully resonate with it, but there are some tips that I can take from that reading, or some realizations I had within that reading that can really help me when it comes to my future. But with you guys, I think there's a little less awareness here at the moment. And there may be a need to be needed within you. So I think for a lot of you, you could be very, very single. For pretty much all of you, I want to say, you do want something healthy, but there's a confusion around why this healthy relationship isn't coming in. And this healthy relationship isn't coming in because there's a fear around a healthy relationship. Now, I want to say the connections that you've been experiencing, for those of you who have experienced connections recently, there's been clashing, there's been differences, there's been unexpected issues, shocks, surprises. You know, even for some of you, it could be a shock like, oh my God, I thought you were just seeing me, but you were two-timing me. Like there's questions around, why are the people who are entering my life unhealthy, more unhealthy than you? There could be a question of like, well, don't we attract what we put out? Don't we attract our mirror? Doesn't like attract like? And on the surface, you may be giving off very subtle body language, very subtle cues of a lack of commitment. And I think you're attracting people who also lack that commitment because of this surface level fear that you have around healthy relationships. But on the inside, pile number one, you guys have hearts of gold. You guys are pure. You want something real. And I think that's where there's this like back and forth, this somewhat disconnect here, because what's on the inside isn't being portrayed on the outside. Now, Spirit wants to say, connections that you enter where you feel that you need the connection and not want the connection is going to bring drama. Spirit needs you to, because boredom here, hypnotizing boredom. And there's some little things here that look like arrows. Can you see at the bottom of this card? So this boredom card to me is pointing at hypnotized, being fixated. And I feel like you're fixated on the need for intimacy. I think a lot of you may be in a phase where it's like, okay, you know, I don't mind being single. Some of you may actually hate it. You know, some of you may be like, I don't like being single, but some of you may not mind being single. But even those of you who don't really mind being single, I think you still feel like the empty holes that being single brings, i.e. the lack of touch, the lack of intimacy, when you're in on your own on a Friday night and you think, do you know what, like, I'd really like somebody with me right now to watch this movie with me instead of me watching it on my own. So you're still a human being, you still desire that intimacy, you still desire to be held, hugged, have company. Some of you may still desire to be kissed, to have sex. But that desire is turning into a need rather than a want. And whilst you're in that energy of need, or that energy of like need because of like some kind of boredom that lives within you, you are attracting in people who are just no good for you and they do not deserve your energy. In these connections, there's like running and chasing dynamics. In these connections, there's like arguments. Even like a couple of weeks into a connection, there's like arguments arising, tension arising. Spirit wants you to really connect with the energy that's inside of you, because inside of you, you want healthy stuff. Inside of you, you want this healthy relationship. Inside of you, you are trying to make healthy choices. Inside of you, you want to be happy and you understand what's going to make you happy and what isn't going to make you happy. But on the outside, because of these boundaries, because of this fear around intimacy, you're giving off these cues to these players, to these mofos. And you're attracting in the wrong people. For some of you, I think Spirit wants you to kind of lay low, chill, sit in on that Friday night uncomfortably on your own watching the film, rather than calling, you know, the guy at work who's like super, super hot for you, but you know that they're no good for you. For some of you, you may have like DMs packed up with hotties. And it may be a case of being asked out by 3 of them and you feeling the situation, feeling that person through your inner values and what you want in a person, and literally just saying no to all 3 of those dates if none of them actually match your values, your inner values. Because at the moment, you could be hooked up with a waste of time, hot. You know, they could be charming, they could be hot, they could be really, really good in bed, but they're a waste of time because they're not right for you. But you could be wrapped up in turmoil with that person and completely miss the good person. You need to put yourself in healthy situations at the moment, pile number 1, and healthy situations only. Even if those healthy situations come along like once every couple of months, because it's those healthy interactions that you enter and that you're involved in which are going to bring you hope in the human race again. It's those healthy interactions that are going to help you slowly take down your boundaries so that you're no longer giving off these cues to the players. But the more you deal with these unhealthy people, the longer you're going to have those boundaries up, and the more boundaries you're going to put up and the further away you're going to be from your future spouse. I've never felt this way before and I'm scared. And like, that is exactly what I've been trying to explain within this reading. You're scared to feel that way again. You're scared to give yourself to somebody again. And when a good person comes along, we're going to give ourselves to that person. We're also going to put ourselves in a very vulnerable situation, because if something goes awry, I think that's the right word to use. If something goes south within that connection with a good person, we may have to look at ourselves and have a look at what it is within us that's been a part of the tarnishing of that connection. And I'm not saying that you're going to meet a good person, you're going to tarnish it, but that's also a big fear that can live within a lot of us. If I meet a good person who's truly good to me and that relationship ends, or God forbid that person dumps me, it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt bad, because I'm going to have some realizations in that moment potentially that, one, it actually could be that you were misled and thought that person was good when they weren't. I mean, that is a fear. But just say that that person is a good person, it's going to have to be a case of looking in the mirror and going, oh my God, like, what is it within me? Is it something about my looks? Is it something about my personality? Do I expect too much from my romantic relationships? And the thing is, like, if you meet a good person and you express those inner values that you already have, pawn number one, you're never going to reach that point where there's a breakup. You're never going to reach that point where you're looking in the mirror and you're saying, oh my God, it must be because I'm a bad person. Like, you need to trust. And it's so easy for me to say, just trust. Because it's not easy to trust. But number 9 here, Spirit does also want to say, oh, number 9 here as well, Spirit does want to say that you are ending a negative cycle. A negative love cycle. You are coming to the end of that. And I think how quickly you end it depends on how quickly you start choosing healthy options only, regardless of if you are a little bit bored. Don't worry, pawn number one. I'm single now, and I am bored. Incredibly bored. But I also know that if I give my time to people who don't deserve it, or people who don't come at me in the right way, I'm going to end up a right bloody mess. I'm already in a healing phase. I can't have a randomer come in and tarnish the healing that I'm doing to myself, and it's the same with you. But yeah, pile number one, I'm going to leave that there. I really hope this reading helped in some way. If you did like it and you made it this far, please drop me a like, and also if you have anything to say at all, comment down below. I absolutely love hearing from you, and I absolutely adore the community that we build in the comments. Don't forget, check out Princess Michaela. She, as I said previously in the intro, she's absolutely amazing. Her reading is a reading that you are not going to want to miss. And yes, subscribe, my darlings, if you do like content like this, because then you'll be notified whenever I do post a brand new reading. Take care of yourselves, pile number one, and I shall see you next time. Goodbye. Hey there, what's up? How are you, pile number two? Welcome to your reading. Let's find out what is blocking you from your future spouse. So you guys chose the 4-leaf clover, and if you know anything about Irish folklore, the 4-leaf clover is incredibly lucky. So this is an absolutely beautiful card for you to choose. I do feel like, alright, I don't have the Wheel of Fortune card out in your spread, but I can see the Wheel of Fortune card in my head. That actually rhymed. And the rhyming actually makes sense as well for you guys, weirdly enough. So I feel like there's something around you maybe not realizing how lucky you naturally actually are. Maybe there is something around you needing to look around you and be appreciative of the areas in life which you are blessed. But I do also feel that Spirit has some really good things for you on the horizon, but you're just not allowing the flow for life to move you in the direction of these blessings. And with the rhyming as well, I think Spirit is also saying they want to make your life rhyme. They want to bring you more synchronicities. They want to push you into more fated situations, but you're like blocking off that. You're blocking off that rhyme. You're blocking off that balance, that harmony. There's something around you guys potentially being very controlling in your life at the moment, and it's totally understandable. Totally understandable. Pile number twos, if you are like a feminine energy, I do want to say you may be residing more in your masculine energy at the moment and feeling like you need to control everything. There's something coming through about your work life or your daily routine. Now, I think some of you may be in a stale situation. Maybe this is at work, maybe this is just in general. You're just feeling like a little bit lackluster when it comes to life. I do also want to say some of you may actually have a very earthy 6th house. So we could be looking at a Taurus 6th house, Virgo 6th house, and a Capricorn 6th house here. We could be looking at Neptune in an earth sign. That's coming through. Maybe Neptune in Capricorn. So yeah, I know I've got a Neptune in Capricorn. We could also be looking at like Neptune conjunct Mars, Neptune conjunct Saturn maybe. Okay, because there's some restriction around flow with you. For some of you, you may have always had this like controlling nature, or some of you, this may be a recent thing due to some kind of circumstance that's pushed you into this energy. But there's something around your life feeling like a little bit stale, a little bit kind of lackluster. And Spirit is saying we want to bring you happiness. We want to bring you excitement. We want to bring you that flow that's going to flow you in the direction of like so many flipping blessings. But you're not allowing the flow, part number 2. So that wants to come in for you. And I do also think this is going to play into what's blocking you from your future spouse. So yes. Hierophant, Ace of Swords, and the Hanged One. I don't know whether some of you have came out of a relationship where there was infidelity. I don't know whether you've been cheated on previously. And maybe you're in a place right now where if you are in any romantic situations, you need to have some kind of control over that person through your own safety. Again, totally understandable. Maybe you like to know where somebody is. Maybe you like to check their phone, check their emails, check their socials. And again, if this is you, and it won't be everybody, but if this is you, no shame whatsoever, because if you have been in a situation where your trust has been denied in some kind of way, of course you're going to feel more safe in situations where you have that level of control. But unfortunately, this is coming through in this reading when it comes to like a blockage between you and your future spouse. But so for those of you who resonate with that part of this reading, there is something about you needing to exercise that trust again. And also trust from the universe that you are protected. Something coming through as well about your psychic abilities. I think some of you may be blocking out psychic abilities. Some of you may be questioning your own intuition. I do want to say that Spirit has your back. And when it comes to this previous relationship, for those of you who do resonate with like infidelity or anything along those lines in a previous relationship that have made you control things a little bit more than you normally would, I do want to say Spirit may have shown you signs, whether this be through dreams, whether this be through synchronicities, whether this even be through your previous partner slipping up around whatever this sneakiness was or infidelity was. That was Spirit. That was Spirit saying, you ain't going to do this to my pile number 2. Now, I also want to say that there are ancestors who have your back as well. And again, you know, this could be great-great-grandma. And she's like, oh no, no, you ain't getting away with this ish. This is my beautiful pile number 2. We're going to do everything in our power to energetically expose you, boo. So there's protection behind you. And there's something around you needing to trust in something that is invisible, something that isn't there. And that is the universe. That is Spirit. That is ancestors. That is trusting that your positive energy is not going to push you or pull you into another situation where there's going to be that sneakiness and need for mistrust. Now, I can feel Spirit wanting to give you like a big clap, specifically around you working on yourself and focusing on yourself at the moment. Now, I do want to say that you may have received some messages. Okay, this could be messages of romance, messages of people wanting to take you out. And I don't know whether there is some of you pile number 2s who are literally just batting everybody away. Maybe you're focusing on work at the moment. Maybe work is your first love at the moment. Now, I do want to say in this situation, you're going to know who's right and who's wrong for you. You're going to instinctually know if somebody is worth a date and somebody who's not worth a date, okay? If somebody's worth a reply and somebody who's not worth a reply, you're going to feel that. But I think for some of you, if you do really want that committed relationship, like in your life right now, if you can actually see a space for it, you need to actually make space for it. Because I think some of you are desiring it, wanting it, thinking about it from time to time and going, do you know what, I'd really like that. I'd really like to meet my future spouse. I'd really like to have somebody to hold, somebody to commit to, but you just haven't made the space for it. So there's something else coming through from Spirit saying just, you know, clear a little bit of space for that. Even if it means just, for some of you, you know, sifting down those DMs or sifting through like a dating website and just being like, okay, you know, I can see that like 95% of these people I would never give time to, I'd never date, but Bob, who's 20 miles away, you know, he actually looks okay. So I feel with you guys, there's something around you allowing dates in, but only dates that you literally feel are okay. Not dates that you get negative feelings from, but dates that you think, do you know what, like I don't think this is my forever person, but I do think that I could have a nice evening with this person. Start letting those trickle in and start making room for those dates, because it's going to show the universe that you've made room for your future spouse. And there's something around you guys not liking change. Now again, I don't know whether this has been a constant for you, whether naturally you don't deal very well with change, or whether this is a recent thing. Maybe you've had some like big trauma in your life recently, and it's like, oh, do you know what? It makes me think of like one of the biggest collective traumas that we've been through in recent years. I don't need to say what that was on here, but it started a couple of years ago. That was a big change for everybody. And I'm sure that's made a lot of people fear change. The fact that life for everybody can change just like that overnight. Now, again, Spirit is saying there needs to be a trust again. A trust that change is positive. I don't know whether you've been seeing the number 5 a lot, 55, 55, 55. Okay, because this is a sign that change is coming in to freshen your life up, to get rid of the stale things and bring in the new things that are going to make you a lot more fulfilled. But yeah, something around you guys holding off change. And I think for some of you, you are holding off change within your career. For some of you are holding off change within your health, your diet, your daily routine of some kind. Spirit also wants you to know that if you resonate with that section of this reading, this part of this reading, you need to allow that change. You need to switch things up. You need to just flow a little bit more. Pile number 2, because you really are blocking that future spouse from coming in. And I do want to say for you guys, pile number 2, your future spouse is going to be different. Your future spouse could require some kind of lifestyle change on your behalf. They could require you to trust, which is going to be a lifestyle change. But this is more like they may require you to move out of your town. They may require you to change jobs if you are moving. They may have a different way of life to you, or maybe a different routine to you. I do sense like a lot of health and fitness when it comes to your future spouse. Don't necessarily want to say like your future spouse is going to be a coach. I feel like coach energy is following me around a lot lately, and I feel like I keep saying like coaching energy, but something along those lines, like some kind of motivator. Could be a nutritionist, personal trainer, could be a coach, could be a psychologist, psychiatrist, something around along these lines where they help better somebody. And I do think their lifestyle is going to really influence your lifestyle in some way, whether that be because of something they do for a job, or whether that be because they literally, physically require you to make a lifestyle change to be with them. So I'm feeling that very strongly for you guys. I am feeling psychic. Have you dreamt about your future spouse? Are you the kind of person who can feel them? You kind of know what they're going to be like? As I said, this person could be a little bit different to your usual type, but do you know what I think it is? I don't think you've ever gone for your type previously. You could be the kind of person, and I'm just pulling this out of the air. Actually, no, I'm kind of not. I'm kind of referring it to me, but my type for a long time has been dark hair, dark eyes. I like those, like, that mysteriousness that somebody with those kind of features brings. Very attracted to that. But recently a friend of mine asked me, like, what do you actually want with like your next long-term partner? And they said to me, you want to write all that down. And it's like, well, gosh, yeah, to be honest, like, I tell you guys to write down what you want in a partner, but I haven't actually done it myself. And they said, come on, just vocally reel it off to me now. And like, when I kind of tapped into that energy, I was like, I think he is like quite tall, because I don't mind tall people, but I tend to go for average height people again. So dark hair, dark eyes, average height. But this person I was like, okay, they're quite tall, like they're 6 foot and over. And I'm like, cool. Like quite big arms. And I was like, and they're blonde and they have blue eyes. And I was like, I don't think I've ever had a boyfriend who's had blonde hair and blue eyes before, but for some reason, I'm currently really drawn to that, but I have never, ever been drawn to that previously. So this could be like the same case with you. Like, you've never gone for what your true deep desire actually is. And I mean, I don't know whether blonde hair, blue eyes is my true deep desire, but I'm just using that as an example for this. But who knows? We shall see. I may meet somebody with blonde hair, blue eyes and end up getting married and living with them for the rest of my life and going, my God, the whole time I actually, your type was my type. But yeah, our types are built up in so many different ways. Our types are normally built up by our parents. Parents' characteristics, our parents' looks. Because when we were a little teeny, weeny baby, and we were building all of the connections in our brains, the first people we looked at, the first energies that we took in, the first physical visuals that we took in were our parents. And my mom has very dark hair, very dark eyes. And for some reason, psychologically, there must be a connection there why I've been seeking love from people with dark hair, dark eyes. I feel very comfortable with that energy because that's my mother's energy. That's how my mother visually looks, as weird as that sounds. Okay. Now, you could still be holding on to previous heartbreak. As we have mentioned previously, for some of you, there may have been some sneaky situations, some sneaky behavior within a previous relationship. But you are blocking a lot at the moment through caution. You are very cautious, apprehensive, guarded, and afraid around a genuine connection here. Some of you may have been in that relationships where there's been natural highs and lows. I have the highs and lows card here, but I'm seeing it in a different way that this card is depicting. For some of you, you may have been in relationships and left as soon as you've reached a low, without the remembrance that relationships do naturally come with highs and lows. In the highs, you build bonds. In the lows, you learn things about each other. So both the highs in relationships and the lows in relationships are so important for that connection, to build those long-term ingredients that are going to take you through into like marriage and forever after. So Spirit does also want to say, don't be too hung up around the lows in a relationship, because no matter what, you are going to reach those lows. It would not be human to be in a relationship and not experience the lows. The lows can be so beneficial in understanding each other. And I've said this in a previous video, I'm going to say it again for you guys in this pile number 2. When it comes to relationships, we start off with that honeymoon period, that beautiful honeymoon period where we're just besotted with each other. We don't take the relationship too seriously. If somebody does something like a little bit, concerning, we kind of just like wipe it off. We kind of just so besotted with that person, we let them get away with murder. That's the bonding phase of a relationship. That's where you're building your foundations of a relationship within that honeymoon period. And that's why the honeymoon period is so flipping important for the success of any relationship, because it is that honeymoon period that you are going to refer to even 20 years down the line. If you have a major fallout within your marriage, what's going to keep you together are the foundations that you built, and the foundations you built are within that honeymoon period. So if that honeymoon period has been tumultuous, if there's been major disrespect within that honeymoon period, I'm telling you right now, that relationship is going to be very difficult to maintain that relationship and continue that relationship, because the only thing you have to look back on in that relationship is disrespect, neglect. And in those cases, there's going to be nothing bonding you guys together. But after the honeymoon period, part number 2, always comes the challenge period. This is when the honeymoon period ends. This is when the rose-coloured spectacles slip off and you see the person for who they are. And that's when you build these compromisations. Is that even a word, compromisations? That's where you build the compromise within the relationship. And again, it's just another phase of bonding to take you long haul with somebody. And these lows are these phases of compromise, okay? But obviously bear in mind, if you are in a honeymoon period and you are experiencing, somebody who's being toxic and abusive and neglectful and disrespectful, obviously you're doing the right thing by walking away from those connections. But when it comes to your future spouse, potentially you could be scared off when you do hit one of those lows, or when you do hit that challenge period in the relationship that it is inevitable that we are all going to reach at some point in a long-term relationship. Okay. I'm still holding on to the past, which is exactly what we've said at the beginning of this reading. Holding on to negative previous relationships, feeling like you need to control the relationship, to control your feelings being hurt. And as I've said for the third time now, that is totally understandable. No shade whatsoever. I can resonate with that myself. I'm naturally quite controlling anyway. I need to chill the F out. But it's you holding on to the stuff that people have previously done to you, which is blocking you from your future spouse. Because if you meet your future spouse and you treat them in a way that kind of makes them feel like they've done the stuff that your exes have done, it ain't gonna go well. You're gonna hit a low. So there's a need to make peace with what's happened in previous relationships and realize those things didn't happen because everyone is going to do that to you. Those things didn't happen because people only do that to you because of something you didn't know. Those things happened because they were part of God's protection. You were never supposed to go the long haul with those people. Some of those people you weren't even supposed to go the short haul with. Some of those people you weren't even supposed to get past a first date with. We've all been there. But yeah, they did what they did to you because God had to, or spirit, or the universe, whatever you like to refer to as the almighty power. But the universe, spirit, God, they had to make that person do what they did to you so that you could just let them go. Because they weren't right for you. They were never meant to be your forever after. And I hear your thoughts. And this makes me think about when I did just previously mention that you may have dreamt about your future spouse. You may feel your future spouse. You may have like an inkling, an idea of what your future spouse is going to be like, i.e. like me with that blonde hair, blue eyes. We don't know if I'm going to be right yet. Let's see. Stay tuned. But yeah, like your instincts, when you feel this person, they're pretty damn correct. You are feeling an energy when you feel this, pile number 2, and that's your clarification. Okay, I'm going to leave that there. I really hope you enjoyed this reading. I hope you gained some kind of insight, some kind of helpful information from this reading. If you did, I please ask that you do me a favour and you hit that like button. Also, if you do have anything to say whatsoever, I would love to hear from you in the comments down below. Please do not forget to check out Michaela's video. It is a video that you are not going to want to miss, and you are missing out if you are not subscribed to Princess Michaela. Also, subscribe to me because then you'll be notified whenever I do post a brand new pick a card reading. Take care of yourselves, pile number 2, and I shall see you next time. Goodbye. Pile number 3, it's me, the high maintenance hippie, coming to shed some light on what is blocking you from your future spouse. Now, you guys chose the mouse card, and straight away I'm hearing for you guys, pile number 3, I think you guys go for the wrong type. Now, I'm hearing friendship first, so I don't know whether some of you have experience with partners where you haven't built the relationship upon a friendship foundation, or whether you've questioned within relationships whether you guys would be friends if you didn't have that SE actual bond and connection. For some of you, and it won't be for all of you, I do feel that there could be a friend in your group of friends who has the potential to be a very successful romantic partner. Or there could be a friend in your group of friends who's a good blueprint as to what your type actually is and what type would be successful in a relationship with you. It makes me think about this rule that I have created for myself, and I did used to use this rule. It's called the 3-month rule, where when I meet somebody for that first date, I then have to wait 3 months until I am SE actual with that person. Now, I used to use this rule back in the day, and my relationships were built on friendship, communication, built on respect. I had some amazing relationships back in the day. But then the past 10 years, I've had 2 relationships. And for those 2 relationships, I did not abide by the 3-month rule. And the past 10 years in relationships have been very, very difficult. So when it comes to my next person, because I am back on the dating scene now, I am adopting that rule again. And I adopt that rule because within those 3 months where you are dating, you are meeting, you are connecting on a respectful level, you are connecting on a communicative level, you realise that you guys are vibing without the SEX. Now, if you have SEX early on in a relationship, you aren't communicating as much, you aren't respecting each other as much, and SEX is a healing act. When we have SEX, we do act out our traumas through SEX. That's where kinks come from. I'm not going to go too much into it, so I do hope that you're following me, and I do hope that you understand what I'm saying, and it doesn't sound like I'm just speaking complete gibberish. But when we have SEX with somebody, things can get complicated, because SEX comes from deep, deep, deep within. And something else that we also hold deep, deep, deep within are traumas. SEX is a theme of the 8th house. And traumas are also a theme of the 8th house. So when we have SEX with somebody, things get serious, and they get serious very, very quickly. We also have jealousy, which is part of the 8th house as well. So when we have SEX with somebody straight away, we have reason to be jealous, because in those moments when we're being SEXual with somebody, I don't want that person to be SEXual with anybody else. If I've been vulnerable enough to sleep with that person, I'm going to want to keep more tabs on them. I'm going to want to say, you know, are you sleeping with anybody else? I don't want to catch anything from anybody else. I don't want you to stamp all over my vulnerability. Okay, so things get serious very, very quickly when SEX is involved. But then when you take that time to get to know each other on a more friendship basis, things are a lot more easygoing within those connections. And then the great thing about that as well is in your long-term relationship with that person, 5 years down the line, maybe 10 years down the line, you may have like an SEXual lull. You know, it happens. I'm sure it happens in most long-term relationships where you have phases where SEX is not at the forefront, whether it's because somebody is stressed out, whether it's because you guys have been arguing. But in that relationship where you've adopted something along the lines of the 3-month rule, even when the SEX isn't there, you still have that strong friendship that's holding you both together and bonding you both together. So I feel like Spirit wants me to relay that information to you and throw that information your way, to consider that the right person for you is going to be a friend first. So it doesn't have to mean that this person has been like a 5-year friend or a 10-year friend or something that you know from childhood. For some of you, that may be the sign that you're getting in this reading, because this is a collective reading. So these messages are going to mean something different for everybody. But for some of you, it may just mean adopting something along the lines of that 3-month rule. Okay. So when it comes to what's blocking you from your future spouse, interestingly here we have the King of Pentacles and the King of Cups. Now when these two kings came out, I was like, oh, there we go. It's 2 different types. Now we've got the King of Pentacles. The King of Pentacles is somebody who is very grounded, they're very reliable, they're very work focused. And I even want to say with the King of Pentacles, this person could see work and stability and finances as their first love over their loving partner. And then we have the King of Cups. This person is understanding, they're emotional, they're empathetic, they put love first. Now the King of Cups could be somebody who could be a little bit of a hopeless romantic. Maybe they are somebody who's had their heart broken in the past because they have put their all in relationships, they have put their emotions in relationships, and they've put they've opened up emotionally very vulnerably within relationships. So the King of Cups could be a little bit heartbroken, could be a little bit tender, but also on a massive positive side, the King of Cups can be somebody who has learnt to balance their emotions. But either way, what I'm getting from these 2 kings, King of Pentacles, a bit cold, a bit superficial, even has the tendency to be a little bit narcissistic, okay? For some of you, you could have been dealing with full-on narcissists, but for some of you, you could have been dealing with people who have like narcissistic tendencies, but you wouldn't call them an actual full-on narcissist. We all have narcissistic tendencies to a certain extent, but this King of Pentacles energy, I'm getting a lot of narcissism with this person and coldness. Maybe they're not the most communicative as well. And then this King of Cups is soft, sweet, loving, may even come across as being a little bit too easy, okay, that's coming through, a little bit too nice, a little bit I'm even getting like, and this isn't my view here because I love romance, but I'm getting something around this King of Cups energy as being somebody who is so romantic and sweet and chivalrous, I can't even say that word, but you know what I'm trying to say. So romantic to the point where it could be a little bit cringe. So I don't know whether you guys, Pond number threes, are the kind of people who are like, look, it's giving me a Pussycat Dolls song. Oh God, how does it go? What is the song? I'm gonna try and find it. I'm gonna find it. Ah, okay. So it's Pussycat Dolls React. And I can't play it for obvious reasons, but the song is, basically the premise is they're singing about a man who is too nice and they like him, or she likes him, whoever the song is written about, but she likes him to be a little bit nasty because it makes her react. So I don't know whether you can resonate with that. Pussycat Dolls React. And I can't think of any of the lyrics right now to recite to you, but it is along the lines of the premise where they like someone who can be like a little bit bad, a little bit gritty, a little bit mean, because it adds that kind of passion and that tension within the relationship. And I like the song because I love the choreography. The video is just so SE-XY, and I just watch that video and I just want to be a Pussycat Doll so bad. But the lyrics do somewhat kind of trigger me because I'm kind of like, no, we don't want bad boys or bad girls. We don't want them. They're damaging, they're toxic. Please stop singing this song. But one of the three, I don't know whether you resonate with that, because there's something around this King of Pentacles being that more bad boy, kind of that person that will make you react, make you question, bring drama into a relationship that can be misconstrued as excitement at times. And the King of Cups is just easy, it flows, it's nice, it's like you ain't got no choice, you're settling down with this person. Now the King of Pentacles could be your usual type, and Spirit is saying like this is outdated, this type is outdated. Now for some of you, I don't know whether you've had, I'm going to throw in a couple of scenarios here. I don't know whether some of you did have a very cold father figure or a very cold like father carer in your life, and whether that's made you go for like these more colder people, get more excitement from these more colder people. Maybe there was a bit of a chase between you and your father when you were growing up and you had to chase for your father's love. Or whether it's the opposite way around, you had a very soft father and maybe you saw this soft man get treated a certain way by your mother, or get treated a certain way by other people in their life that you did not like, that you disapproved of. It could even be for some of you that your father was very soft, and they were so soft to the point where they didn't really make you feel protected. And also it was just too easy for you to kind of wrap your father around your finger, okay? So a couple of different scenarios there, because this is a collective reading, it's going to be different for everybody. But this more cold, business-like kind of person is exciting for you, but that's not going to be your future spouse. If you're dreaming about settling down with one of these like more narcissistic types, you're blocking your future spouse from coming through, because your future spouse is the King of Cups. Your future spouse is emotionally mature. Your future spouse isn't going to play you around. They're not going to wrap you around in circles. They're going to make you feel so comfortable and so balanced that you're going to have to find something else to keep you excited. And I know that sounds really weird, me saying that. The way I said that just sounds like, ugh, that's boring. But I mean, you're going to have to put your energy into something more substantial, because you won't have to put in excesses of energy into your relationship in a stressful way, but you will put in the energy in a romantic way. Oh gosh, I hope you know what I'm trying to say here, part number 3. Because this King of Cups is an evolvement for you. They're a level up for you. This King of Cups is the next phase of your love life. That is where you're going to find your beauty. Whenever you mess around with these King of Pentacles types, and we could actually be looking at earth signs in particular, maybe you've been dealing with a lot of Virgos, Capricorns, Taurus people, they're the caterpillar phase of your love life. And it may feel like the caterpillar phase of your love life. It may be like, oh my gosh, yes. It's so kind of like I even want to say, like, it's like crawling through mud. It's like walking through water. You want it to go somewhere, but it never goes somewhere, but there's so much passion and desire to make it go somewhere. And then this King of Cups, when you start going for these more emotional types, and this could specifically be water signs, okay, so tell you what resonates. You know, that could be Cancerians, we could be looking at Scorpios, Pisces, especially Pisces for you guys, that's coming through very, very strongly here. You could have a Pisces friend as well in your vicinity who could be like a romantic interest of yours. But when you go for these more watery, emotional type of people, you're going to feel like you're flying like the butterfly. You don't realise that your investments in certain love interests, it's just like putting money in a bucket with no bottom. I was actually thinking of a phrase there, because I'm sure there's a phrase or a saying about a bottomless bucket, but it is literally just like, it's like pouring water, getting a bucket and pouring water out of the sinking ship, but the ship has a massive hole in it and you're never going to be able to get the water out quick enough, okay? You're wasting your time, you're wasting your energy with these connections. So for you, pile number 3, you're to check your type, okay? Because your future spouse, your happy ever after, comes when you check your type. Because you really do fantasize about settling down with this wrong type. Like, you just do. Someday, somewhere, I will. But underneath all, you want that support. You want that emotional support. You need that emotional support. And within these relationships, with these more King of Pentacles, colder types, you do end up building up like a bitterness within those relationships. And that bitterness ends up being the end of those relationships. It's time to confess, here with unveiling, what you really want out of a relationship. That you actually do want somebody softer. And, you know, going for this emotional type doesn't mean that they're unsuccessful. Going for this emotional type doesn't mean that they don't have enough money or security to provide or to keep you safe or to keep you stable, you know, all that kind of stuff. Like, don't look at this King of Cups type and just think, oh, this is the person who's emotional. This is the person who's an artist that will never make enough money for us to have like that solid, stable home, for us to get a mortgage. And I'm just thinking of an example. I'm not saying that all artists aren't able to make like a good. I'm sure there are many artists out there who do earn a lot of money, a lot of money. Actually, now I think of it. But I'm just trying. There's like a phrase, isn't there? So many phrases in this reading, but I can't think of what the phrases are. But yeah, like, don't think about that like musician that just sits in their parents' basement and they're 40 and they never made it, okay? That's not the energy we're looking at with this King of Cups. This King of Cups is intuitive when it comes to business. They're intuitive when it comes to money, making money, providing, and things like that. And there was a study done in the stock market. I think it was like brokers in the stock market. And there were people who were like... very big in the stock market, did very well in the stock market. They had their university education. They made their investments through logic, through facts, through seeing numbers in front of them and going for the most viable investment option through logic. And then you had the other guys or girls or gals or whatever in the stock market who were making investments through intuition. A lot of these people weren't even university educated. A lot of these people just made their way into their positions because they were just very good at what they did. They had a talent for what they did. They didn't need those credentials. And those people would make their investments through intuition. And when they measured up the success between the people who made their investments through logic and the people who made their investments through intuition, the people who made their investments through intuition were the most successful and made the most profit. This is your King of Cups. Do not stereotype a nice person, man, woman, whatever. Do not stereotype them. This person can be emotionally supportive, emotionally rich, and financially supportive and financially rich. Okay. I think you do or have in the past ran away from true love when this love has been expressed from somebody who seems to be a lot more emotional. And also, Spirit also wants to say, when you switch your type, when you start, or when you decide to end the phase of these King of Pentacles partners, they're going to bring in somebody, potentially through your friends group, could even be the internet here, okay? Friends group, internet, some kind of community that you're involved in, okay, it could be church. They're going to bring this person in where the connection you have is so unexplainable, where it's like, whoa. I want to say like love at first sight with this person for you, part number 3. And I do feel very strongly that this person is your future spouse, and I think that's why they're coming up in this reading. Specifically, when it comes to your future spouse, you are going to notice them through intuition. You're not going to notice them through logic. You're not going to be able to recognize them and go, well, that's my usual type, of course, you are my future spouse. No, it's going to be like, whoa, why do I feel this feeling towards you? It actually makes me think about a short that I saw the other day on YouTube, and it was a like timeline video of when they first met their husband. And this guy was, I think he even had a unibrow. I don't even know. I think he actually had a unibrow. I didn't watch it enough times to be like, is that a unibrow? I could have looked again and checked whether it was a unibrow, but I think he had a unibrow. And he looked a bit scruffy, you know, not awful. He just looked a little bit scruffy. He looked very, 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 very nerdy, I'm gonna say. But then as the timeline went on, when he just like neatened himself up a little bit, like he's not had any surgery or anything like that, he's just neatened himself up. He may have worked on his diet potentially, or may have just started to pay more attention to his looks. He was hot, like unbelievably hot. It's like those films where you've got like the geeky girl and they give her a makeover at prom and she comes down the stairs and everyone's like, whoa, I can barely recognize you. But nothing's changed. The only thing that's changed is they've done their hair, they've done their makeup, and they've just spruced themselves up a little bit. I'm feeling this energy with your future spouse. And this doesn't have to be a physical thing. This could literally be like an energetic thing, and you've been like, oh, you know, like you've only just started your business though, and I don't know, that would mean that I might even be the one who has to provide for you one day if this business doesn't work out, okay? This kind of energy. And then a year down the line, they are balling. They are rich. They have started the new Uber. They've started the new Airbnb. You know what I'm trying to say here. Spirit also wants to say, don't judge a book by its cover. That's coming through for you as well, part number 3. So, interesting. We've got, I have addictions I don't want you to know about, and I genuinely do think you are addicted to the King of Pentacles. You're addicted to these more colder business types, a little bit of like a bad girl, bad boy vibe. It's an addiction. You need to cut that addiction like you would if it was anything more. Well, no, it's just as harmful as other types of addictions, isn't it, when you think about it, part number 3. So I'm here to tell you today you're an addict. And the first step of overcoming addiction is admitting you have an addiction, part number 3. Oh gosh, I hope you don't mind my humour, part number 3, but yes, I am going to leave that there. I really hope this reading helped in some way. If it does, and you do appreciate the reading, I do ask that you please, please, please drop me a lovely little like down there. Also, comment down below if you do have anything that you want to say at all. Absolutely love hearing from you. I love the community that we build in the comments. Please do not forget to check out Michaela's video. What was that? Michaela. Please do not forget to check out Princess Michaela's video. As mentioned before, the video is linked in the description box down below, or you could check out her other videos by hitting the @ in the title of this video. And please do subscribe to this channel if you do like content like this, because it means that you will be notified whenever I do post a brand new pick a card reading. And your subscriptions show me that you do value what I do. And the more subscriptions I have, the more of you who regularly come and view the channel, the more I can bring these videos your way. So yeah, part number 3, take care of yourselves, and I shall see you next time. Goodbye.